Is there anybody out there? Let's see. Right. Let's turn that noise off. There we go. And hopefully I can get on the big screen now. Hello, everyone. Who's here? So I've got, all right, you can see and hear me. That's good. That's cool. Oh, we've got the Poo Ninja. Nobody knows who that is. I've got my ideas. But bit of a legend. So thanks very much. Guitar Music 365. Thanks, God. Oh, look, I've been caught eating a sweet. That's my one guilty pleasure. Werther's Originals. Terrible, isn't it? But there we go. Hey, Quinna, how you doing, man? You all right? Tomorrow, mate, I'm going to be putting out the jam. Excuse me. Ollie's done the editing. So that will be going out tomorrow. For those that don't know, Kranat, and I think it's Silku, but I'm not quite sure how to pronounce the name, who I met at 42 Gear Street, who is just like an unbelievable player. He really is. He's just got the touch. You know, I think Gary Moore mixed with a bit of Dave Gilmore and himself as well. And we did a nice little jam. Just me and him, just doing it with, what was it? Thriller's Gone. So that'll be going out on all the channels tomorrow. So looking forward to that. So that's good. Hey, Aaron, how you doing, man? Can I? Oh, hang on, I can't read that. Where are we? Do you play the Hendrix intro to? Oh yeah, I can do. Yeah, that is one I keep meaning to do. If I'm honest, I keep meaning to record that, and then I remember. Excuse me. Remember it and then totally forget about it. But that's I'm just gonna blame my age on that one, I'm afraid. But there we go. Please do the Crazy Train full. Okay. Yeah, I might do it at one point. People actually ask me sometimes why I don't do full songs. Well, because the reason for that, it kind of blew up when me just doing the solo. So I kind of thought that's what people wanted, if I'm honest. So, but you know, I'm not saying no to anything. So hopefully I might well do the full, because there's some great licks in that, if I'm honest. Some really good licks in that, apart from the solo, which is obviously great. I mean, you know, Randy Rhoads was an absolute legend, as we well know. Excuse me a minute. I've got someone trying to, there we go. That's all right. All levels good. That's all right. Bit late for that, never mind. But there we go. Where are we? You should. I love when people play that intro. Yeah, I must do it. Personally, I think that Stevie Ray did the best version of that, if I'm absolutely honest. Now, I'm a complete Hendrix nut, I am. And Stevie Ray, of course, you know. But I just think that when Stevie did that, it was just on another level. And I'd really, really have to spend a lot of time trying to get that anywhere near what he did. But I will certainly do more the Hendrix version, because I know that. A bit of a cop out there. How long have I been playing? I think just about 41 years. I started when I was about, I don't know, 18 or 19. And I shared a flat with a couple of mates who did play. And they were always practicing, and I thought, oh, go on then, I'll have a go at that, see what happens. So I did. And the first thing I could do, believe it or not, before I could even play a C to a G chord, was fret tapping. Okay, it was the era of Van Halen, and that looked and sounded the greatest thing to me. That's for sure. So that's how it all sort of ended, or started, should I say. That's how it did it. Where are we? You sure? I love it when people play like that. Yeah, cool. Players solo. Oh, blimey, I've got to get my teeth in here. Players solo, then do so with your teeth. I might break my teeth at my age. I love Van Halen. I'm not sure if he played with his teeth, did he? More of a Hendrix thing. He might well have done. I absolutely, excuse me, all this talking. But yeah, I mean, Van Halen, massive influence on, really. I don't think anyone can say that he didn't influence anyone, because I think after Hendrix, he really was the next big thing to me anyway. But there we go. I'm a star at home in playing the air guitar. Can we expect to see some of your skills also today? What, playing air guitar? Might be better than my real guitar playing. I don't know if you missed it. I did play a little bit at the beginning. I'm not sure if you missed that, but I might do a bit more playing at the end. But there we go. Let me tell you what you do is incredible, and I'd love to play the guitar. So continue what you do. That's really nice. Thank you so much. I'm trying to get the name there. My eyesight's terrible. Liridian 213. Whoever you are, man, thank you so much. I've got to be honest. That really is the best part. It's like when I first blew up on TikTok. The greatest thing for me was when people, I mean, old students were getting in contact and saying, oh, well done and what have you. And they was also saying, I've seen you on my For You page. I didn't even know what that was. I'm not even sure now, if I'm honest. But when I do get comments that I've inspired people, and I know I do get them quite regularly, it genuinely, absolutely, I'm a teacher, look. So, it makes my day. It really does make my day. When people say that, and people have taken up the instrument again, and they've seen that I'm an old guy. So they, a lot of people of my era, and I've got friends like it, that played in bands when they were 18, then I'm obviously got married, had kids, what have you. Work gets in the way, life gets in the way, and then they come back and they start playing again, and that's absolutely fantastic. So to hear that, so thank you ever so much. How old am I? I was born in 1852, I think. It feels like it anyway. No, I'm actually 60 years old. I know I look probably over 70. Some people even think I look over 90. Yeah, that was a bad day, but there we go. Listen, you are what you are. I've always said, if you want to stop people playing guitar, put my face on packets of strings like they do with smoking and what have you. That'll stop them. Not that we want them to, but there we go. Where are we? Sorry, Steve Perks, the In Step album. Obviously, there was something before that I've missed. I'm just trying to get what was before that, Steve. I don't know. The In Step album. I'm not sure who did that. I'm not sure. Hello, John. Thanks. At One Big Scribble. Thank you very much. Aaron Shaw. Oh, okay, controversial. Which bit was controversial? What? That Stevie Ray did a better version? I'm not sure. That is my opinion, may I just say. All right, okay. Ingve says you owe him some money. I doubt it. I couldn't do any of this solos, even if I had like 3 months off to practice it. I mean, that guy. Do you know what? I mean, it's right, okay. I like Ingve, don't get me wrong. It's maybe not the stuff that I listen to an awful lot, but I do use him from a teaching point of view, mainly to show people how his picking hand works. Because, obviously when we're sort of picking the strings, blah, 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 we don't want to go too far past it. So if you're picking one note, you don't want to go all the way and then like that, because you're wasting a lot of time. He's got it down to a fine art. I mean, you just don't see his right hand moving almost. It's incredible, his speed and his clarity, But yeah, it's he is a great player. But like I said, I don't think I could ever try any of his. Yeah, you're right, Poo Ninja. No wasted motion, and I waste a lot of time. I know I do. Mine is nowhere near as good as him. I think sort of from maybe an early point in my playing, I've always said that I was never going to be the fastest picker or anything out there, so I probably concentrated more on sort of working on vibrato and bending, which really are two of the most important things for me. I know speed is something a lot to everyone, but I that's why I spent a lot of time on my vibrato, and my bending. Yeah, Stevie Ray did Little Wing on the right. Was it on the In Step album? Do you know, I'm not up. I'm terrible. I'm really are with album titles and goodness knows what. I really am awful. I'm awful with song titles as well. When I'm playing live, I sometimes have to ask the drummer, "What's that one?" And then he'll hum it for me. You know you're in trouble when you got to do that. You know what I mean? But there we go. Oh, Renee from Canada, you are great. Hopefully, I'll be as great as you. I've just started guitar lessons at 63. There you go. Fantastic. That's really cool. And why not? The age is just a number, as people keep saying, and it is. You know, it is just a number. And sometimes, you know, I don't know what the retirement. I don't know. A lot of people retire at 60, or it varies from country to country, I know. So, you know, if you've got more time, then it's great. Listen, if you're able to do it, just pick the instrument up. You don't have to be the next Ingray or the next Stevie Ray. As long as you enjoy what you're doing, that's cool. That's it, really. So well done, Renee. Where are we? Flamboyant flailing fingers do not make for good stagecraft. Yeah. Stagecraft, crikey, yeah. Years ago, yeah, used to run around the stage. Nowadays, the stages are that big, aren't they? So you can't really do that. What type of gauge of plectrums do you prefer? Do you know what? Oh, crikey, I wish I could make my mind up. I really do. Now, on an acoustic, I've got a big pot of picks here that are, oh, blimey, also a big magnet there as well, like with just about everything known to man in it, I think, really. And I quite like a sort of thinner pick for acoustic at times, because you can hear that rattle across the strings, so that can sound quite nice. Generally speaking, I kind of use, and funny enough, it's the three I've got in front of me. It's the Petrucci picks that I tend to keep coming back to, which is like a Jazz 3 XL. I think they're about 1.5 mil. I've kind of got my own ones now, which are Jazz XL Jazz 3s. But I've got 3 different gauges, like 1 mil, 1.3, I think, 1.2, and again 1.5. And then sometimes I like to use the smaller Jazz 3, which generally is either a mil, 1.14, 1.3 something, I'm not sure, but yeah, it's so I will go depending on what I'm doing. But I do keep coming back to these Petrucci ones. I don't know why. They have got a bit of a raised surface on them, so that's quite nice from a sort of point of view that you don't slip too much. Right, where are we? Favorite guitar in your collection? That's a difficult one. I love Metelli, and this is just a Mexican one that I bought in the lockdown. And I used to have, what was it called, an American Deluxe, but never really got on with it. I don't know why. But I didn't, so I ended up selling that so I could buy another camera, as you do. But then I got this one and just modified it a bit. Now, the finishing on it was not great. I've had to have work done on the frets, so I'm still not 100% happy with it now. But it does sound much better than my old American Deluxe. It really does. This neck pickup is just fabulous. I just absolutely love it. Neck's really cool. It's got that satin finish rather than a full gloss, which I kind of... the one guitar I'd save in the fire is obviously my Ibanez Gem, because I've had it for 1989. So what's that? 35 years I've been playing that. So it's kind of part of me now. Funnily enough, I did just pull it out this week to do a couple of videos, which was great. But yeah, that's the one I would save in a fire. As for favourites, I don't know. They've all got the, my Strat Plus that I take out for teaching. That's naturally relicked nowadays, where it's been kicked over in the music room so many times. I've tripped over the leads, it's flown. Oh, blimey. But it's a great, so I use that for all the Gilmore stuff. That's a great, I think everyone should have a Strat and a Telly. But the Ibanez I'd have to say, because I can't replace that. I just can't, it's, yeah, absolutely no way. Where are we? Right, there we go. I'm 65, started playing in 76 and quickly went pro. Cool. Switched to bass for decades and now I'm back on guitar, studying theory and having a ball. Yeah, I mean, this. Listen, when I first started, I just ignored all theory. I didn't think it was important or anything. But, I've soon learned that it is, or a lot of it is, that's for sure. I like to teach what I call useful theory. There's a lot of theory that maybe just goes a little bit too heavy. And And it's a bit like, I don't know, sort of jazz players will always play, you know, I mean, incredible. I always say I'm too young for jazz. So, and when one of my students at 18 went off to study jazz, I told him that. But he became, it did make him a much better player. There's no question. And they tend to, you know, play by the head and what have you, and you've got to know a lot of theory for playing jazz, and I've got absolute respect for guys who do that. There's no question. What acoustics do I have? Right, crikey. I've got, the oldest one I've got is my Taylor, which is a 513, I think, CE, which is the cutaway and the electrics, which is great. I've had that for, I'm not sure, quite some time, well over 10 years. I'm not sure how long. That's a great guitar. What else have I got? I've got one of those, not sure, lava blue ones that have got the reverb and the delay built in, which is quite nice. This little smaller body size, that's quite nice. It's all right for taking out. The one I'm playing mainly at the moment when I do acoustic stuff is a Quartz. It's the Gold Passion. I've got, anyone's interested in, I love wood. I mean, I genuinely love wood. I love working with it. In the lockdown, I forgot how many bird tables I made, and big bird tables. I just love working with it. So that Court Passion is solid back and sides flame maple, and it's just, and it's a smaller body size. I think they call it a parlor size. I think, was it a grand? Oh, do you know, I honestly can't remember. But that's a nice. Again, the Taylor's a bit bigger and it's great, but I am heading towards the Court now, and it sounds fantastic, but it looks great as well. And I think they sort of retail about, I don't know, 1,300 quid or something like that. So whatever that is probably the same in dollars or whatever. But you're getting an awful lot for your money. And it's incredibly well built. I just couldn't believe it. I could not find genuinely anything wrong with it. I really couldn't. There was no gaps anywhere. The frets were absolutely immaculate. Fantastic. So I play that most of the time. I've got a cheap Court one that they gave me as well, which is going to be going to school. I've got to start back on school on Monday because we're setting up a new branch and another school, so that'll be going down there. But I think that's it. So I've got 4 acoustics, I think, now. But yeah, hi Nicholas. Right, where else are we? Love the Jazz 3 XL, and that's all I use. Yeah, that's I do. It's funny if I'm kind of shredding, or not for me shredding, you know, which is not really shredding. I will use the smaller Jazz 3s, but the trouble is with them, I do find you can, rhythm-wise, it can be a bit more getting used to, which is why the XLs are really kind of cool, you know, so I think they're really good. Can I play Hotel California? Right, okay. Okie dokie. Right, well, there's a little bit of a story to that. Yes, and there is actually on my Instagram the first solo to that at the moment. We're just seeing how that's going because Mr. Henley, our good friend, Mr. Henley. Now, don't get me wrong. I love the Eagles. I really do. I think they're one of the greatest bands ever with some of the greatest songs. There's no doubt about it. They're the soundtrack of my life, really. But he doesn't like me, and he doesn't like anyone playing anything of his songs, sadly. And he issues copyright strikes. And I actually got 2 copyright strikes on TikTok at the same time for Hotel California, strangely. So I had to quickly delete all of my Eagles. Now, I'm not quite sure. It seems to be that I'm not sure if Meta have got a different attitude towards him. I've no idea. Because that seems to have done all right, and I haven't got any copyright strikes. Or maybe he's mellowed. Yeah, I doubt it. And it's a shame, really, because I think before I scrubbed them, the first solo had 23.5 million views and something like 1 million comments or something. It was something ridiculous. And lots of people I remember were saying they didn't know what the song was. A lot of younger people. Now, I never really earned any money out of that. If he'd have turned around and said, "I need your money," you could have had it. I don't care. Whatever. It was next to nothing anyway. But unfortunately, he decided to copyright strike me. And I think, and Rick Beato's done a really good video on this, and other people, other big YouTubers, asking why is he doing this? Because unfortunately, I think, I just think that they're going to be forgotten about if he keeps trying to shut people down for playing his songs. The word's not going to get out. I mean, especially in today's world where all the kids are looking to TikTok, they are looking to Instagram or Facebook. Well, I think that's a bit of a past thing for kids nowadays, Facebook, but certainly TikTok, to find this music. And they would then go and stream his songs and buy his merch and buy his albums. And apparently he's employing between 6 and 12 people to constantly trawl the net so that he can try and shut these people down. I don't know why he does it. It's his prerogative at the end of the day, but there we go. So I've got to be really careful about doing any Eagles, all right? One thing that I did find quite funny, though, was Don Felder, who's great. And I understand why he left the band. I can totally get it. He one of his quotes a few years ago was that if he'd have realised how difficult the Hotel California intro is the most difficult part of the whole song. There's no question about that. And he said that if he didn't know how many times he had to play it, he would have made it a lot easier, which I thought was great. But there we go. Where are we? What's your most expensive guitar you own? Well, probably the Gem, because it is, it's vintage now. It's worth quite a few quid. But it's not original. The bridge pickup I had rewound, because in them days you couldn't buy pink pickups and it was a pink pickup. So I had it rewound because it was very, very toppy. So I had it rewound and they put a lot more mid in it. And it's been like that ever since, which was kind of cool. I also had the Buzz Phaeton tuning system put on it as well many years ago, which just sort of just made it just a little bit better, I think, anyway. But yeah, so that's probably the most expensive, but it's the one that I would never sell. I couldn't do without it, if I'm absolutely honest. What would you say to a young band? When should they start with their own songs? Because me and my friends all about 15 and we're thinking about when to start. Yeah, okay. So now bands is something I do know quite a bit about, not because I've been in anything famous, that's for sure. I've never wanted to be famous. So when all this stuff kicked off and AGT kicked off, yeah, I got quite a lot of stick from the kids at school because I've always said to them, I don't want to be famous. And then, of course, they'd say, well, if you don't want to be famous, why did you do that? And, right, okay, long story. So what I've always said to any band, and we work with a lot of bands at school, which is really cool. You can't go straight out, as again, just my opinion, and do gigs with your own material because your audience is very limited, or your venues are very limited. Now, if I'm a pub landlord, why do I pay a band to play? Well, quite simple, really. I want you to draw people in so that they'll spend money behind the bar. That's his business or her business. Absolutely fine. So if you go to a pub and it's busy and then you're just playing all these songs, they might be brilliant, all right? But if people don't know them, are they going to want to stay around? Some will, some won't. So I always think go out doing covers. And like I say, this is my own opinion. Go out, do covers and gradually introduce them. Okay, and that's quite easy because if you're gigging quite regularly, and it's great at 15 you're doing this, it's brilliant, guys. I never even started till I was 19. And I love working with the bands at school. And I hope your school actually, can you tell me, do they support you and do they have people helping you with that? I hope they do. I really do. So that's what I would do. is to get a good set of covers that people know, all right? And then gradually introduce your own stuff that way. Then it's a kind of gentle transition then, I think, all right? Oh, tell us your best teaching story. Oh, God, right, okay. Right. So let's do a funny one for a start off, okay? And then I'll do something that still gives me the shivers right now, I think. Although I do laugh about it now. So I had a year 7 boy come in, and he sat down. Now, I also teach bass and ukulele. I'm not a bass player. I'm not really a ukulele player, but, you know, a lot of the theory's the same, and I can get around it, you know, only basic stuff. So I said to him, have you ever played another instrument? You know, because, like, if he played piano, he might know how to read music and what have you. So he said, oh, yeah. Oh, so sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. I said, oh, what instrument are you here for? And he said, oh, electric guitar. I said, that's all right. Did you ever play another instrument? He said, yeah, I played a cowstick. And I thought, right, okay. I said, a cowstick. I said, you mean a cowbell? He went, no, a cowstick. Like that one. Points to acoustic guitar. Which, when he was in year 11, I told his mum in front of him, and he was ever so embarrassed, but she thought it was hilarious. So did I. Great lad. But yeah, so there's that. And oh, blimey, there was one day, oh, crikey. So I'm in a lesson, same school, strangely. All seems to happen there. All right. And I had a girl in there, and I said, oh, what song have you been given to learn? And she said, so-and-so. And I thought, oh, right, okay. I think I've got that in my bag. And that was the days before I went digital and everything was on an iPad and what have you. Because I try and go digital now, then I've got all my songs with me. So I pulled out my file, and I've just sat down like I am now, and I'm just pulling the pages, you know, pulling the pages. And I turned over, and life stopped. Because looking up at me and twiddling his whiskers was a mouse. And like I say, and I'm thinking, what's going on here? And he's live, and he's looking at me, even more shocked than I am at looking at him. And I just said, and I just quickly shut the book, and I said, oh, do you mind going and getting the music teacher? I need him, blah, blah, blah. And he came in and what have you, and we caught it and we released it. Now, what happened was this. It was when I was living in my last place, and I used to keep my bag in the hall. So I'd go down in my studio, do my work, come back, leave the bag in the hall, what have you. Now, I had, I think, 2 cats at the time, both good mouses. So obviously in the night, one of them brought a mouse in. They're obviously chasing it, and then it jumped into my bag and found its way into my folder, and I'll never forget that. Oh dear. And it just like, it was like the world stopped, you know. Oh crikey, mad. But there we go. Hi Dav. Where are we? Guns N' Roses or Nirvana? Both. Nirvana, kind of strangely, I mean, don't forget I was around sort of 91 when Teen Spirit came out. And I didn't like him at all. Don't forget, how old was I then? Oh, half the age I am now, about 30 or something. Oh, was I? Oh, I don't know. And grunge killed off the solo. And of course, that's all I was interested in at the time, was playing solos, wasn't it? So, but I've obviously since come to appreciate totally Nirvana, and you know, let's just not forget that it was just very sad what happened to Kurt. And there was a guy, I think, who really didn't want to be in the business, and I think the business swallowed him up, really, which is awful, really, when you think about it. But he did do some great songs, and of course, Dave Grohl, look at what he's gone on to do, and that man is Mr. Rock and Roll now. Lemmy's gone, I think, anyway. I think Dave Grohl is just such a great guy. I really, really do. And G&R, obviously, I love. All right. That first album, Appetite for Destruction, come on. Who doesn't regularly play that? It's every track on it's brilliant. I think it's still the #1 debut album, biggest selling ever. I think. I'm not sure. I could be wrong about that, but I think it is, and rightly so. It was a fantastic album, still is. I always said they'd get back together, and they did. And I always said that Oasis would get back together. And guess what's happened this week? Yeah, they did. I've also said that I don't think Dire Straits will ever get back together. And I don't think they will. And that's really a shame because I never got to see them either, you know. But there we go. But yeah, I love Slash. I mean, his playing is just... You know, he's one of those sloppy players, all right? My playing's sloppy. Gary Moore, by his own admission, was a sloppy player. And Gary Moore was always and probably always will be my favourite player because that man just spoke to me. I wouldn't be playing guitar if it wasn't for him. And Angus Young, of course, you know. But yeah, but there's sloppy good, and there is. You know, Gary Moore always said, you can transcribe my songs, but you'll never get it right. And that's why I've seen really good sight readers playing the solo to Still Got the Blues, and you know they've sight read it, or they know they've learnt it via that. And although it's technically right, it isn't right because it's the wrong bits. It's the Gary just used to play behind the beat, and it's just minuscule, but it was just man was taken far too soon. And there isn't a day go by when I don't miss that man. There really isn't. I think one of the greatest losses, that's for sure. Should guitar YouTubers do TikTok as well? Do they have a way to monetize and drive any traffic to YouTube in your experience? Yeah, why not? I mean, to be honest with you, the main part, as you know, Aaron, of doing any video is doing the video. Literally posting it's the easy part, so why not? They used to have, it was never good, if I'm honest. They used to have a creator fund, they called it, which, you know, I don't know how much they paid. I learned very little over it, you know, a few quid, but not much, to be honest with you. Nowadays, any video under a minute won't gain any monetization at all. So all your videos have got to be over a minute. But like I say, you're already posting it. TikTok's kind of a bit weird at the moment, I think, because every now and then I'll get a video that goes really well. But the other stuff, it's really tough. And I've noticed a lot of other music people are not getting the views either that do similar things to me. So maybe their algorithm just isn't pushing it. I don't know. But why not? You know, also do, what's the other one? Threads, is it? You know, that does, there's no monetization. I know trying to get monetized on Meta is a lottery. We still don't know what the how to do it. I wish we did. But so I certainly don't get anything from Meta at all. B3N, hello. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's just a lovely looking telly. This, just like a veneer. Like I said, it's only a Mexican. That's really cool. Kenny? What songs would you recommend for my daughter to learn who has been playing riffs and stuff for around 2 years? Right, well, funnily enough, I've just shot today some videos, or one video on that side of it. It really depends on what her music taste is. You know, I've done a video today on learn 5 songs in 5 minutes. All right. I also did a video on learning to read rhythms. Please, when that's uploaded, if you don't know how to read rhythms, okay, it's something that I learned after playing for 20 years. All right. And when I learned to read them, and it was simple, all right, because I thought it was going to be really difficult, but it wasn't. Then it made my life so much easier. It really, really helped with like depth gigs and what have you, learning to sight read charts and what have you. One of the most important things I think to learn is to learn how to read rhythms. And I've taught thousands, literally over the last 20 years, thousands to learn it from, I don't know, 5, 6 to 72. I think it was the oldest guy. They all did it. It's so simple, but it really, really helps. So it really all depends on what she likes. I mean, obviously, if she likes sort of pop music, there's probably a bit more choice with really easy songs with, you know, just the same 4 chords or 4 bars or 8 bars that are just cycling round all the time. We use a lot of those at school for beginners and what have you. But let me know what kind of music she likes, and then hopefully I can be a little bit more specific, something like that. Don't know. What's your Steve Perk, what's your opinion on budget guitars like the Jet and Harley Benton? I recently got an HB PRS inspired guitar, dressed the frets, stuck on a bone nut, locking tuners, and it's best I've ever owned. Yeah, do you know what? I'll tell you what, Steve. My eyes have been opened in the last 4 years, I would say. You know, it was, I always had this opinion that, oh yeah, I must buy the best of the best. And, you know, I've got an American PRS artist pack, which was, you know, 20 years I've had that. Well, it was my 40th birthday present to myself, you know, it's $3,000 then. So, and that's probably 6 now. And don't get me wrong, they're really well made guitars. They really are. And I love that thing to death. It's another one. It's a lifer. I would never get rid of it. But playing the court stuff, I think I played a couple of Jets and they were quite good. I've not played Harley Benton as yet, but watch this space on that one. Okay. But the court stuff I can make an opinion on. And I've got, you know, I've got 2 in the rack here. Let's put the telly down. And I think this one, don't ask me the model number because I haven't got a clue. It's the budget series. I mean, roasted maple neck. The trem on it, yeah, okay, look, it's not great. I mean, these things are 250 quid, okay? So I bolted that down because it was all over the place. You know, that's why you pay a lot of money for decent hardware. But the rest of it, brilliantly. Coil tap, humbucker, 2 single coils, really comfortable neck. Those fret ends are immaculate. There's nothing wrong with that at all. I mean, you know, I paid what, 600-700 for the Mexican tally, and I had to spend another 100 getting all the frets done. So it just goes to show companies can do it. Good tuners. It's a great guitar. Absolutely fine. Like I say, 250 quid, crikey. Really well finished. So yeah, you know, sometimes I did that with the tally as well, was change to lock-in tuners, which opens up another question. Does it help with tuning? Oh, big debate on that one. I think it probably does. It certainly doesn't do any harm, but my goodness, it's easier to change the strings. So it's worth doing just for that, if I'm honest. But there you go. So yeah, Harley Benton, I've not heard any bad words against. There is one company that I've seen a few guitars from, and I'm not going to mention it here, but they retail. They're a big retailer. Their own brand, and yeah, never mind. It does. My heart sinks if a kid walks in with one of them. But you know, you can get such great guitars now for not an awful lot of money, really. I mean, this thing, like I say, 250 quid. This is what I would call an intermediate standard guitar. No money, not really, but there we go. Hello, Brazil from Jefferson. Hi, Brazil. Got a lot of followers over there, which is cool. One day I would love to go to South America. I am fairly well traveled, really, but that's one place I haven't managed to get to. Play a quick solo, Comfortably Numb, please. You're so good. Thank you. I might get, blimey, I'd have to remember that. Listen, the amount at my age, You know what? I've got trouble remembering what I had for breakfast in the morning, which, considering I have the same thing every morning, is a bit worrying, really. But there we go. But say I might just do a bit of playing out over that or whatever. I don't mind. Whatever. Can you play other instruments by any chance? Yeah, I play a bit of ukulele. I quite like ukulele, if I'm honest. I kind of got into that. Oh, yeah, a good 10 years ago, I think. Where are we? Oh, grab that. And it's the one I bought at the time. Probably not in tune, so I played it for a while. Easy way to play bow rap. But I got into it because the ukulele was and still is, I believe, the fastest growing instrument in the world today. And it has been for year on year. And, you know, when I went to school back in the dark ages, around the time of the Ice Age, I believe, we had recorders. That's all we had, which wasn't the most nicest of things. And they always kept in a bucket of fairy liquid or washing up liquid, horrible. You know, trying to play 3 and 5 miles on them. So a lot of schools now use ukuleles, which is really cool. Much better. And for young kids, this is a great way, I think, to get into the guitar. You know, it just gets you used to sort of holding down a few strings and what have you. So, yeah. So I can play that. I can play the bass a bit, but it's not. I'm not a bass player. I really am. I wish I was, but I'm not. But there we go. Hi, Chase Edits. Hello, Phoenix. How you doing? That's kind of hello, old mate. Steve Finn here. Mike. Oh, hello. How you doing? Hey. I must get older, Mike. I keep saying I'm going to ring him, but you never get around to it. I don't know why. I just run out of time all the time, you know. All the way, I'll start that again. God, blimey, my eyesight. Hello, all the way from Tucson, Arizona. Hello. Like Arizona. Actually got is Vegas in Arizona? Forgive me if I'm wrong. Geography's not my greatest thing. But there we go. We actually got married in Vegas, so I kind of love that. Very hot over there. And well, motivated me to play guitar. Thank you so much, man. I mean, that's like I say, that's really the greatest part of all this thing is that, you know, if you can inspire. Listen, I'm not the greatest player in the world, not by a long shot. All right, but if I can get people into music, playing the guitar or playing whatever, really, then you know it's job done as far as I'm concerned. Really, it's a great thing to do. What's the ideal amount of time to play to get better if I have long work schedules? Right. Okay. So the way I look at it is this, and again, this is my own opinion. Before people start slamming me down, little and often. Excuse me while I just grab that water and fill my throat going. Little and often is by far the best way to do it. Now, I always tell the kids this. Oh, hello, what's going on? I don't know if you're still there. What's going on? It's gone off. Oh, for some reason, I lost the screen. Please, someone do a comment. Just make sure that I'm still on. I think I am. I don't know what happened there. The screen went off, but there we go. Little and often, if people are still there, help, is the best thing. Oh, here we are. Great. Now then, I always relate this. When I'm teaching, I always try and put things, when I was an electrician, okay, I always had to try and put things in layman's terms for customers to explain why something had gone wrong or whatever. So I kind of do the same when I'm teaching. And I always relate it, practice regimes, when I was an electrician. And if I went to a job and I hadn't been there for 2 weeks, I would spend the first hour or 2 hours just remembering what I was doing. Whereas if I was there yesterday, I just walk straight in and get on with it. So that's the same thing when you're practicing the guitar, okay? Little and often, if you can do it most days, you don't have to do it every day, but you then are just in that frame of mind where you're remembering what you were having to do. Now, there is a difference between practicing and playing, but don't get me wrong. When you are playing for fun, all right, so if you're just improvising over a backing track, which is always the best way to do it, no ifs, no buts, all right, you're still learning then. Yes, practicing, like learning new chords or learning a song or, or a solo even, scales, that's practicing. But then put it into practice. So if you are learning, I don't know, the 5 positions of the minor pentatonic scale, then put it together with a backing track. By far the best way to do it. So practice regimes, yes, best thing to do is to do it. Maybe they always say 10 minutes a day and have Sunday off or whatever. But even if you can, do 10 minutes 3 times a day, that's better than an hour in one session. I think so. Like I say, is my opinion, but that's what I would do. So little and often, absolutely by far, and just enjoy what you do. And remember, some days it's gonna sound like a bag of spanners, all right? Because trust me, I have days like that. We've all had gigs like that where it's all gone completely and utterly wrong. And I've heard the biggest names in the business. I heard Gary Moore talk about it. It's all going to go wrong. So don't let that put you off. It just means it's not your day. Come back tomorrow, you'll be all right. Simple as that. So little and often is my tip. Rock music is what she likes. Currently learning Stairway and All the Young Dudes. Oh, yeah, that's cool. All the Young Dudes is a great song to learn because you've got that. Oh, and Stairway, of course. Just don't play it in the music shop. I'm not sure if that's the thing nowadays. I think it's more like Seven Nation Army and Sweet Child of Mine. But yeah, so if you're into rock music, crikey. Depends on if she's learning Stairway, there's quite a lot to that. I mean, if you're learning the whole thing, then, you're talking a grade 7, grade 8 piece. To learn it as all the different parts, the different inversions on the chords that Jimmy used, which was great. So I would have a look. I'm not sure where you're from, but it doesn't matter now anyway. Global world, aren't we? Have a look at the rock school graded stuff. Now, the new syllabus has just come out, and I actually haven't really had chance to check it out. But the old stuff, and I'm assuming they've just built on that, is kind of cool. Because they take, maybe sometimes for the early grades, stripped down versions of songs so you can play it in an easier way. So that's always a good thing to do. But yeah, there's crikey. Whatever she fancies having a go at, then try and help her with that. And of course, the great thing now is you want song X, then go on YouTube, and within 3 seconds you've got 50 people wanting to teach it to you. All right. The only thing I would say, all right, is this. I've got this thing. If it doesn't sound right, it isn't right. Always trust your ear, because I get people all the time that bring me in tabs and say, well, I've played this or I've seen this bloke teach this song online, and we'll have a look at it. But it don't sound right. That's because it's not. Not everybody does get it right. Okay, try and use your ear. Ear training is really, really important. And obviously, if she's playing Stairway, try and get her also into like learning just some simple scales and improvising, because that's just the creative side coming out, isn't it? And the biggest thing I get when I say to people, we're going to start to learn improvise, it's like, well, I don't know what to do. Well, I've seen that face 1,000 times. You just got to get over that barrier of just giving it a go. And the more you do, the more you will learn, and the more you will become comfortable with it. All right. So try and get her into that. That's what I would say, definitely. Hello, David Alfonso. I was just playing with your YouTube guitar. Sorry. All right, cool. Thank you. Where are we? Greetings from Sonic is my favourite. Greetings from Mississippi, the home of the blues. This is true. That is one place I would love to go. The older I get, the more bluesier I get. Nothing wrong with that, I don't think. But yeah, that's definitely somewhere that there's so many places that I want to go music-wise. Nashville, we've not been to Nashville. Possibly, I don't know, maybe next year. I'd like to. I really would. There's a few places. Oh, and thank you very much. Yeah. Nice, no cover charge. Nice Dan Baird poster. I spent years seeing the Georgia Satellites in Georgia, where I was from. Yeah, you know, Dan's great. It's a band. Will they ever get back together with Dan? Not sure, really. I know he's had quite a fairly successful solo career. And he's great, you know. I met him a couple of times because a friend of mine who I played in a band with, he used to roadie for them when they were over here. And he's a great guy, and they've done some great stuff. And I always think, and if anyone's out there, please go and listen to a song, because you won't know it, all right, called All Over But the Crying. And I honestly think that's one of the greatest songs ever written. And nobody knows it. And I've always thought, I'd be interested for your opinion on this, no cover charge, all right? I've always thought if someone famous was to take that song, you know, they've already got a career, and do a cover of it, I think it would blow up. I really do. I think it's a fabulous song. So it's called All Over But the Crime by Georgia Satellites. Fabulous, fabulous song. Really is. Where are we? Steve, one thing that sticks in my mind from your interview with Anderton's, oh blimey, that was over a year ago now, was that trick where you slide up to a section when playing diagonally across the neck, across the strings. Yeah, that's right. Oh, thanks for that, Steve. Yeah, always try and look at, trying to plug in, I'm not even sure. Always try and look at scales. Now, just very, very quickly, if let's do that, get rid of that, get rid of the chorus. So if we were say, and the minor pentatonic, the box patterns, one of the most important. If you only ever learn one set of scales in that, please learn them. You know, I've seen this, and I expect others have seen it as well, where you know people are playing an A minor a lot because it's like dirty here, the fretboard, and dirty here. And forgetting it's all in between all the notes as well. But yeah, and try and join things together. So if you've got what I call position 1, but other people call position 5 or whatever, it doesn't matter. And going into position what I call 2. But play a few notes on position 1. Slide in. And kind of slide between the 2, then add position 3, slide in between that. It's diagonal scales. The one that Steve's talking about is the E natural minor. 3 octaves, which just goes really across the neck. Always the best way to do it. You can never know enough scales. You can never know enough chords. But yeah, playing diagonally is a much, much better way of doing, and that's for sure. Okay. All right, here we go. Oh, I can't read that. Where are we? B train braid. I'm not sure how to sound that. But anyway, thank you very much. I'm not sure how to pronounce that, if I'm honest. Hi, neighbour. Hi, Lee. How you doing? Salam for Uzbekistan. Yeah, I kind of know roughly where that is, I think. Where are we? Fraser, love your videos, especially your G&R solos. Yeah, thanks for that. Obviously, I've just done or redone quite a few of them because Gibson very kindly lent me the Slash Les Paul, which has got to go back next week, I think, and they're dropping off a 335. I think they've got a new 335 out, so that'd be quite interesting. Which will be interesting. I shall have to redo a few of the Oasis things, I suppose, with them. With them coming back. Hi, Kafir, how you doing, man? Yeah, thanks, mate. How you doing? I think everybody knows Kafir. If you don't, oh, for goodness sake, just go and watch his channel. The man is just an amazing player. I've been watching him for a very, very, very long time. And he, again, like Cronard, he has just that touch, you know. There's a lot of soul, and that's the playing that I kind of love the most, you know. I really do. So please go and watch him, you know. Yeah. And I was so sorry that you couldn't go to 42 Gear Street, man, because that was one thing I was really looking forward to, was meeting you. That's for sure. But we will meet. I know. I'm going to NAM in January. I'm not sure if you are, but it'd be great to catch up. It really would be. And to, at some point, I would love to have a jam with you. And that's for sure. That will be a bit of a highlight for me. No question. Yeah, we must meet. Oh, where are we? Pete. Hey, hello, Pete. How you doing, man? So Pete's an old... he's not a student. He came, blimey, years ago. I used to work a lot. This was when I was an electrician. I worked a lot for the youth service, and we used to run some music projects where we would get 50 or 60 kids in of a weekend, and some would be in bands, some wouldn't be. And if they weren't in bands, we'd put them in bands and then tutor them in all manners of music over the course of the 2 days. And on the Sunday night, they play their gig in the main hall in front of friends and family. And Pete was one of those guys that came up from Swanage. A lot of talent in Swanage, I'll tell you, a lot of talent. Some really great players. And Pete now plays for the London Essentials, and that guy's jetting off all over the world. He's a fantastic player. He really is. And just a wonderful human soul. But yes, we must meet up again. Absolutely. It's got to be on the cards. And with Mr. Cartwright, who is another fabulous player from Swanage. I can't believe Swanage, for those that don't know, is not too far from where I live, really, about 30 miles. It's only a small seaside village, town that kind of dies in the winter, like a lot of these places, because they rely on the tourism. And the amount of good players that have come out of there that even I know about, is just incredible. It really is. Unbelievable. But yeah, so we must meet up again, guys. Any questions on any teaching things? Anyone got any questions on any teaching things or anything like that? Where are we? Hit the like button, guys. All right. Yeah. Hi, Steve. Yeah. Cheers, man. You know. So actually, another question. Actually, I'm going to put it back out. So obviously, this is the first live. Now, right. Okay. It was originally going to be next Saturday. And then I realised it's actually my niece's wedding next Saturday. So I think I might have been in big trouble if I'd have done that. I nearly forgot. Oh, crikey. But there we go. But yeah, I'd be quite up for a regular sort of live. I think it's quite good fun. Subjects, though. Obviously, tonight, a little bit of playing, and then, just answering any questions, which I'm always willing to do. I know a lot of people send me messages. I don't always get them, guys, and I really don't. And sometimes the messages can be just overpowering if you've got a video that's doing really, really well. I try and keep up with it, but it's really tough. But give me some subjects, like, I don't know, comparing maybe the playing styles of different people. I don't know. Anything on a tuition point, obviously, because that's generally what I do. Or best budget guitars, anything really. So, any questions at all that you've got an idea, please just ask. Right, what your advice for me trying to make music, Chinese man? Right, well, try a little bit of an open-ended question, I guess. If you want to make your own music, right, okay, let's deal with this. Let's deal with the composition. Now, that could be quite a nice subject for a live. And that is composing your own music. That's come up with a young guy earlier on who wants to do their own songs. Now, because I work in schools and obviously we've got the exams, like either GCSEs or do A levels. Sometimes they do BTECs here, whatever that is in your country, but they all do, as part of music, and they have to do their own compositions. Now, a lot of people just want to kind of keep playing chords until they find what goes together. But if you look down the theoretical route, okay, about what chords are in families, how you can extend a chord. So if you're in the key of C, you've got a C chord, you can always use a C major 7, for instance. Okay, so we can go through composition and how to do that. I've actually got some composition sheets that I can put up, or I'll quite gladly email it to anyone, and it will show you the every note. This is where a little bit of theory does come in. Please, everybody's left now. Okay, no, if you look at it the theoretical point of view, all right, or that way, trust me, it really, really does make your life a lot easier. And like I say, teaching kids in school, as soon as they learn that formula about what chords go with what, you're laughing. But always remember, there are 2 rules in music, according to me. All right. 1, there is no rules. And 2, if it sounds good, it is good. Because sometimes the wrong thing to play is actually the right thing to play. Yeah, music's a funny thing, isn't it? It really is. But that's really it. But you've got to start somewhere. And there is a benchmark, a rule book, if you like, which is actually quite easy. Listen, I left school, like I say, in about 1852. And I with nothing qualification wise. I hated school. I hated it. I didn't even do music, but then it wasn't proper music then. All you had was, the recorder or a piano if you were lucky. And I love the piano and I wish I could play it, but you weren't even allowed to play that, And I came out with no qualifications really, or next to nothing. So I'm not what I call an academic person. All right. I'll build you anything you want. You tell me what you want building, I'll go in my workshop and I'll do it. I try and repair anything because I quite like that, and hopefully play all right, but because it's practical. But when I was taught the way I was taught by a really good friend of mine, Mr. Tim Wedlake, and I'm not sure if he's out there, he'll be gigging tonight anyway, somewhere in the country. Who got me into this in the first place, and such an amazing teacher. Pete, you'll know him. Okay, you'll remember Tim, fabulous guy. And he taught me how to do that, and it was like, oh, is that it? It's actually nowhere near as complicated as what you think. So that could be, a good sort of subject, really. Where are we? Waiting for my guitar class, watching you live. A huge hug from Brazil. Hello. Yeah, listen, I am filming a lot just lately, a lot of lessons. They're coming up on YouTube, all right? A lot. I'm trying to cover a lot of bases. I've also, I'm also nearly there on a proper course, okay, which will be a paid-for course. But in all fairness, I've at some point got to try and make a little bit of money out of this game to keep it open, because I'm doing more and more of it. So I've done a complete beginner's course that will be ready in the next couple of months, I hope. All right, and that'll be really, really in depth. But there's a lot of lessons coming. Like I say, today I've done, I'm doing these 5-minute lessons, what I thought. Okay, so today I have shot how to read rhythms in less than 5 minutes and learn 5 favorite songs in less than 5 minutes. All right, and you will. And trust me, they'll be coming very, very soon. Okay, where are we? Can you play the Enya Go Sonic, please? Right, okay. I think I've got it here. Right, where are we? What gauge of strings do you prefer? Right. Quite easy, that. I used to use 10 to 46. Oh, why does it never get the one you want? But I was getting a little bit of a problem with the hand. So nowadays I use 9 to 46. I was getting a little bit of a problem with my hand. Now, many years ago, and guys, if you're just starting, please, if you don't even listen to any words I'd say, please listen to this, all right? There's a lot of people who say you have to push through the pain barrier when you're playing. Right, now then, 2 things when you first start playing will happen. You will get obviously some stinging in the tips of your fingers where the skin comes off. That's going to be a bit painful. I've just gone through that again because I was away for 2 weeks. I had to come back and I'm back up to strength now. That won't do you any harm. If you get any pain, aching or sharp pain, that's quite a commonplace, or up the arm in the tendons, please just stop immediately. All right. If you want to start running and you start tomorrow, you are not going to be doing the marathon on Sunday. You just couldn't. So you've got to build these things up very, very gradually. And many years ago, I did about 12 hours of teaching all in one day, and I just did far too much, and I gave myself RSI, okay, repetitive strain injury. It does flare up every now and then, and so that's why I dropped the string gauge or the top gauge to 9s, because it was just being a bit painful. So 9 to 46 is what I play. I do have 10s on my PRS, but that's got a shorter scale length, so it kind of evens itself up there. All right. Whereas, can I play the Enya Go Sonic? Oh, right, okay. For anyone who hasn't seen this actually, it really is. And I'll tell you what, I'm going to try and play it with, I bet it's not in tune. Some of that. Actually, it's not too bad. With its own speaker in. Let's have a look. Oh, I don't know if it's charged up. I don't know how that sounds live. I've got no idea. So this is not plugged in. As you can see, you can plug it in just like a normal guitar. It's actually really good. And we've got different presets. I don't know how that sounds out there. It sounds pretty good in here. I actually did a rehearsal in here a few weeks ago because we had a gig coming up. And I just played it for a while, highway to hell. And at the end of it, the bass player said, "Where's your lead?" I said, "Well, I'm not plugged in." I said, "Just use a speaker." And he didn't notice. Now, I've been playing other guitars from the amp absolutely fine. He hadn't noticed. But yeah, these are actually, that was a bit of a revelation, this guitar. It's actually quite cool. I like it. So I'd be interested to see how it sounds, actually. But there we go. Where are we? Hi. I can't pronounce her name, if I'm honest. Junior. Where are we? Play the Go Sonic. There we go. The circle of fifths was a bit of an eye-opener for composition. Yeah, absolutely. That's a really important thing, the circle of fifths. And that's basically, for those that don't know, is the way of learning all the notes in any key. Now then, we can learn one key straight away. C major, no sharps, no flats. Our musical alphabet, the way I look at it is this. Most of you probably know this, but there might be some that don't. But just very quickly, in our English alphabet, our letters go between A and Z. When we get to Z, we go back to A again. Our musical alphabet goes between A and G. But obviously, some notes can have sharps or flats. Some notes can be called both, so they can have two names. But with C major, there are no sharps or flats. So it's basically C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and back to C. So there's never any excuse for no one not knowing what C major is, okay? Sorry, it's a teacher coming at me, isn't it? Oh, God, what am I like? Where are we? Can you play Hysteria solo off Def Leppard? Do you know what? I don't know if I've done any Def Leppard. I'm not sure. I will make a note of that. I'm not the biggest. I don't know. I do know Def Leppard, of course I do. But I don't think I've ever played Hysteria. I think I know which one that is. I'll have a look at it. I will have a look at it. Always looking for new things to do, if I'm honest. Right. Okay. So, Aditya Singh, hello. What's your advice for an intermediate guitarist who wants to improve? Right. Okay. Number one, enjoy what you do. Two, I always think it's great to learn. You learn in your bedroom or your office, wherever, at home. Okay. Try and play in a band. You may already, I don't know. Okay. That will always raise the game, and it really will. It's where you earn your stripes, as I say. Okay. Playing in a band, playing with other people, really important. Now, if you can't do that, all right, and some people can't because they're really nervous, all right, and I totally get that. I absolutely get that. Funny enough, when I went out for a dinner with just before we go back to school with all the peripatetic teachers that I'm one of in one of the schools, and we used to have a teacher there, and she was a brilliant pianist. I mean, unbelievable, and a great teacher, but she could never play live because it just, some people can't. So if you can't do that, listen, we got YouTube, we got backing tracks, and a little story here actually, because I think this sums it up. Was many years ago, I can go back that far. We got asked to do a private party somewhere local, and I said, yeah, no worries. And they said, we've got members of our family, within the family, I've got a band that they like to play. And I said, yeah, that's fine. And they wanted to use our backline. I said, yeah, no problem, you can use that. So anyway, turned up for the gig, and this guy, the main guitarist, he's probably about 18, 19, pulled out a Jackson, pointy headstock, and he started shredding away, all the sweep picking. Oh, blimey. This kid could play. I mean, really, it was like, oh, okay, fine. I thought, all right, then I'll just go over here and practice like, having some kid have a go at me like that. Right. So, but when they came to play as part of a band, it was useless. It was no good. It was all over the place. It was just not right. Do you know what I mean? So he had the chops, but he didn't know how to put it in a musical format. And this is a problem with a lot of players. They would just play to a metronome and not put it to a backing track or play in a band. So if you can't play in a band, use a backing track, because you will learn about it, locking together with the other instruments. So really important on that, and I thought, like I say, he had all the chops, but playing live, it just didn't work at all. And it was a bit sad, really. Hopefully he learned from that, and, whatever. I don't know. I know all the chords. It's like math. Not sure what that word is for talker. Not sure. How mood, I'm not sure. Chords, yeah. Well, blimey, there's over 100,000 of them. I bought a book because literally it said on the front cover, over 100,000 chords. So I used to take them around to the schools and say, there you go, learn that by next week. Just as a laugh. But yeah, theory is really useful. Okay, or useful theory is, all right. One of the biggest questions that I get asked is this. Sure which one's plugged in. I don't even know if anything is plugged in. Where am I? And it's when people are improvising and they're in A minor, invariably, and they've got a backing track that's A minor, G, F, and E7. Now they're playing along because it says A minor. All right. It is 3/4 of the time. So you can use A minor pentatonic or A natural minor or any of the modes. We're not going to get into that. But it's that E7 chord. Now, in the key of A minor, that technically, that progression should be A minor, G, F, and E minor, because that's technically the chord that would be used. But it's quite often altered to a dominant 7th chord. Now, when I play that, I'm bringing in a G sharp note. So obviously, if they're improvising and over that E7 chord, but they play that G note, it's not going to sound right. And that's why we've got what we call the harmonic minor. All right. So basically, when you're in a minor key and the 5th chord, which in this case would be the E, has been altered from a minor to a dominant 7th, all right, you actually have to sharpen or use the major 7th note, all right? So we can go into this. That's the one question that I get all the time. Why does that note not work? Well, because of that altered chord. And it's great because you've just got to kind of look for that chord. And I always say to try and land on that G sharp. Sounds kind of Eastern, you know, which is great. And I love it. I love the harmonic minor. And if obviously, you know, we all love Santana, Jeff Beck, and they've made livings of writing songs where they would quite often change that chord to a dominant 7th. All right. I mean, I know the theory of guitar. Well, that's good. You know, you can never know enough theory, but it's the useful theory, like looking at the chords underneath that you're soloing over. That's really important. Okay. I will look at his theory. Yeah. What's your advice for an intermediate? Oh, right. Sorry, I've done that one. Are you going to get tickets to Oasis? They split up. No, I'm only joking. I don't know, they might have done. I have seen Oasis. I saw them a couple of times back in the day. I'll always remember the first time, or was it the last time I saw them, which was in the local arena. And Liam threw his teddy in the corner. Someone shouted something in the audience and he stormed off. And we wondered what was going on. And Noel just went, hold his hand out like that. I thought, what's going on? And a roadie comes on with an acoustic guitar, and all the members of the band went off. And he just sat down and did an acoustic set on his own. And do you know what? I thought that was brilliant. I quite like Noel. And I like Liam as well. I'm not going to rule it out, but blimey, it's, you know, 150 quid a ticket. I mean, I know that's what it is for most bands nowadays. It does worry me a little bit that, you know, tickets prices are getting out of control. They really are. It's mad. But, you know, yeah, I wouldn't say no to it, that's for sure, because I do like Oasis. The one thing they reckon when Britpop came about, they reckon it increased the sales of guitars by, I believe, I could be wrong about this, but I believe 39%, which is huge. So I'm really, really hoping that they stay together and it does that again. I really do hope so. Okay. Let's see. I think it's got every chance, and I think they're older. I think they've probably been talking for a long time. They've just probably been waiting for the right figure. And hey, who can blame them? You know, whatever. I think it's great that they're getting back together. I really do. So I might do. You never know. The relationship of the golden number in all music is super cool. Could you give some examples? The relationship of the golden number in all music. I'm not totally sure what you mean by that, if I'm honest. But there we go. Oasis are overrated. They're wannabe Beatles. Well, yeah, I mean, yes. I mean, back in the day when he used to release an album, the big paper here, Sunday Times, used to run like a 4-page thing on, well, this song sounds like this Beatles song, or that one by that Beatles song. And I think the funniest story I ever heard was, and it was great because he had a go at Billy Joe Armstrong. So for those that don't know, so Wonderwall. And then Boulevard of Broken Dreams. Is very, very similar. It's basically the same chord, but without the sus on the seventh. And apparently, so I heard that Noel Gallagher had a go at Billy Joe. He said, "Oh, you nicked my song." And he went, "Well, you've nicked everything you've ever done." He went, "Yeah, all right, fair enough." Whether or not that's true, I don't know. But, you know, listen, we all nick off everybody. We do. We nick a lick off of Bonamassa, or we lick a lick off of Gary Moore, or going back, you know, Stevie Ray, Albert King. Stevie Ray always said he basically just ripped everything off of Albert King, and probably, in my opinion, did it maybe a little bit better. But, you know, much as I love Albert King, and I really don't I love all those old blues guys. And B.B. King, I managed to see him before he passed away, and what a legend. I mean, you just knew you were in that concert. I'll never forget. It was, you knew you were in just front of, greatness was in front of you. You're in the presence of greatness, you know. But there we go. With people in front of people, no one just is. Not sure what that is. Hey, Steve. Hello, mate. How you doing? Steve Casty's got a great site. Go over and have a look. We met at 42 Gear Street, and he's a great guy. Some people you meet in life, you just know that you're going to keep in contact with, and he was one of them, among many, but he was one of them. How's the fridge situation, mate? No one will know what that means. But I hope it's sorted. All right. If not, let's draft a letter. Where are we? How much money do all your guitars and amplifiers cost? I haven't got a clue. I don't know, if I'm honest. I mean, you know, a lot of them are not, you know, that expensive. I got a couple of expensive guitars, I suppose, 2 or 3. Yeah, I have no idea, man. I mean, don't forget, this is stuff that I've built up over 40 years. And I'm not a particularly what we call a heavy equipment kind of guy. I'm not. You know, I tend to find something I like and then sort of stick with it, really. I've probably only had a handful of amps over the years, really. Less than 10, I would say, certainly. And I've probably still got most of them. But there we go. Hello from Brazil. Hello. Love Brazil. Love to go there. Dean Bob, can you throw it back? What? No idea. What is your favourite band, and how it was your first approachings to music? Well, I fell into music, as I said earlier. I like everything in my life, really, because I shared a flat with 2 guys who played, and that's how I ended up playing. Who's my favourite band? I got so many. I mean, I'll sometimes sit down, you know, when I'm things that the younger generation, which is probably most people, you know, younger than me. When I'm doing maintenance, changing strings or whatever, I will stick on an album. most of them don't even know what an album is. They just get one track off Spotify, which, I can understand. I really can. But, I'll sit down and the other day I was listening to Tears for Fears, or I might put an ABBA album on. ABBA were great songwriters. They were really cool. I like them, but Gary Moore was always my favorite player. But, I love Sabbath and Ozzy and, oh, crikey, Dio, Holy Diver. What an album that was. Crikey. Just reading his autobiography at the moment, actually. Very good. Very good. You listen to The Sleep Token. No, I've got to be honest, I've not heard of them, but that's not unusual with me. If I'm back at school, I'll hear many different band and artist names in the course of a week that I've never heard of, and that's for sure. What is the guitar of your dreams? Right, okay. Good question. I've always wanted, I love all the guitars that I've kept, sort of thing. The occasional one or certainly years ago where I had to upgrade, and what have you. So I had to sell it in, part exchange it to go up and up and up. And I've always wanted to have something that was custom made, I must admit. And there's a guy on Instagram as Barada Guitars, I think. It's a guy in Germany. And if you look at the instruments that he does, and he posts videos of how he makes them, and this guy's attention to detail, it's staggering. Just staggering. And I love, I could never build a guitar. Blimey. What he does is absolutely high end. Maybe one day, I can get that custom built. Then I would have it built to my specs, which would incorporate, a bit of the PRS, a bit of the gem, a bit of everything, really. But one day, you never know. But when you start talking about custom built guitars, oh dear, yeah, you are talking about a heavy pay packet, really. But there we are. What was your first guitar or instrument? Well, funnily enough, I did have a guitar, and I had to look at some old photos when I was doing the AGT thing. And my mum found out a load of old photos of when I think I was probably about 8 or 9. And I had, I think I pestered them for a guitar. And they got me this acoustic, which was basically unplayable. I always remember it. You could drive a bus under the strings. Nowadays it's kind of quite hard to buy a bad instrument. In them days, it was quite hard for a budget instrument to be any good. So things have kind of, luckily gone that way. And I never took it up because it was basically unplayable. I remember taking it, I was in middle school then, and taking it in school, and there was a teacher there that did play guitar, and he was having trouble with it. So if he couldn't play, well, that's probably why I gave up. Plus the fact I was a young kid. But my first guitar that I bought was a Hohner. Now, that was sold to me by a man that a few of you might know, is a guy called Paul Stacey. You may or may not know him. I can pretty much guarantee you've heard his playing at some point or another, because he played with Oasis, actually. I think he played keyboards for them. I think he's a good friend of Noel's. He's played guitar for him. He's played Tom Jones and his brother. They were twin brothers. Jeremy Stacey, who's quite frankly the best drummer I've ever seen in my life. I remember going to see them in a very small venue, probably 10 or more years ago, and it was Paul and Jeremy, Pino Palladino, who's like A-list session bass player, and Jason Rebello, A-list keyboard player, who the following week I saw at an arena playing for Jeff Beck. So this is the kind of standard that they are. So, and I never knew any of the material, but my goodness, the playing was off the planet. It was just off the planet. So he actually sold me my first guitar. And it was basically made of plywood. It was a Hohner. It was kind of an explorer shape. But yeah, you know, it did the trick. One pickup job. It looked good at the time. It was red and black, and you know, it looked sort of metal, which is obviously what I was into. I don't still have that instrument, I'm afraid. I actually, I think I ended up throwing it away. Well, I don't know why I did that, actually. I think it was when we were moving. I'd robbed all the bits off it, and it was made of plywood, so it really wasn't worth a penny, if I'm honest. Hi from Houston, Texas. Hi, that's another place I'd like to go to, obviously, you know. Texas, oh yeah, Stevie Ray and all that. Oh, blimey. Who is your favourite classical music composer? Oh, right, okay. I would have to say I haven't got one, because I probably know the classics, if you like, but I probably couldn't tell you who did it. I probably couldn't, if I'm honest. So I don't know, if I'm absolutely honest on that one. I do like it. I do appreciate it. It's not something I ever deliberately sit down and listen to, if I'm honest. I've just got to be straight. So I don't know is the answer to that. What's your best memory related to music that you have? Oh, best memory. Oh, crikey. Oh, right. I mean, there's loads. I mean, I've done loads of great gigs and met loads of nice people, and met Gary Moore once. That was cool. That was really cool because he was my hero, and he was lovely. And I know he could be, yeah, but he wasn't. He was absolutely fine. But there you go. I think you just had to catch him on. If you caught him on a wrong day, you certainly know it. I don't know. I mean, obviously, the one abiding memory I suppose I've got at the moment would be, you know, when I finished playing the audition at AGT, and because of what led up to it and what have you, and the reaction was just not what I expected. So it was just like one massive serotonin rush to the brain, and it really, yeah. So that was a great memory, and meeting so many people over there, obviously, a lot of who I'm still in contact with, which is really cool. Good morning from one old grey guitarist to another. Hello. Yeah, I'm not really sure when my hair went grey, if I'm honest. I'm not sure. I tell my wife it was on our wedding night, but I don't think she believes me. I think I actually did have colour in it. I don't know. It just kind of happened, I think. But, you know, it doesn't bother me, you know, losing it now. I'll have any colour. Just let me keep it for a bit longer. Otherwise, I'm going to have to find a hat. All right. I think, you know, a lot of guitarists end up wearing a hat. So I think I'm going to have to do that at some point. What is your favourite genre? What bands did you like in your childhood? Well, the first single I ever bought, strangely enough, this came up the other day, was Come On Feel the Noise by Slade. And they were great. Slade, not the older. I mean, they were a brilliant rock band. They really were. And so that was the first single I ever bought. Dare I say that I also used to like, but obviously don't anymore, was Gary Glitter. And those that don't know about Gary Glitter, just ignore him because he turned out to be, just such a horrible person. But, you know, back in the 70s, he was a huge star, and he was. And again, it was that rock kind of music, but from that era as well. You had the Sweet, who were great. I mean, they were a great rock band. They had some magical songs. They really did. Brian Connolly, the singer, died far too young. Andy Scott lives not too far. I think he lives in the same county as me. I've never met him, but I think the Sweet is still going. He's the only original member, but they had some great songs. They really did. But my favourite genre, if I had to pick one, is blues rock. Yeah, no question. I like rock music, but I think the day it changed, and I'll always remember this because we were doing a Saturday lockdown, shutdown, sorry, in a factory not far from here when I was an electrician. and it was in a Kodak place. It was a photo lab, where they did all the printing with all the machines. So the builders were in there, and we were in there doing electrical, and I'll never forget this because the builders had on Radio 1, which kind of plays a mixture of all stuff, and I don't necessarily like that channel, but they did. And then this song came on the radio, and it was Jeff Healey. Now, if I'm honest, I can't remember if it was Confidence Man or See the Light, and I can't remember. It was one of those two. I think it was Confidence Man, if I'm honest, but we're going back over 35 years here. And I stopped work because I just heard this guitar work, and I was playing then, and it just blew me away. And I had to stop because I had to find out who it was. And they said, "Oh, there's this new guy from Canada, Jeff Healey." And they said the album. And I went, literally just around the corner was a record store when there used to be record stores everywhere. And I went straight in there and I said, "Have you got it? Have you got it?" No, we got to order that in from America or whatever. So I ordered it there and then, and still one of the greatest albums ever. And if you don't know about Jeff Healey, please go and check him out. He's sadly no longer with us, but he played with a guitar on his lap like that. He was blind from the age of 1, okay? And what that guy could play was pure feel. Absolutely. Quite often I'll put that album on now. It's fabulous. So yeah, blues rock, and that's him who turned me on to that. And then shortly after, Gary Moore obviously brought out Still Got the Blues, and I was already a Gary Moore fan, and that just sealed it. It was like, this is where I want to go, no question. How about these live streams then? Oh yeah, a new regular feature. Yeah, I'm quite happy to do a regular one actually. If people want it and they want to give me a certain subject that we can do, we'll just do a question and answer or a teaching thing, anything really. I'm up for anything, you know me. I don't care. Do you like I always call them polyfiller. That's terrible, isn't it? Polyphia, I think it is, isn't it? Yeah, I've not really listened to him. It's a guy called Tim Henson, isn't it? I think. It was an incredible guitarist. Again, it's great. It's not necessarily my thing, but unbelievable player. I know he is. And I do like metal. Listen, I've seen Priest. I saw Judas Priest not long ago, actually, just down the road. And Rob Alford in his 70s still got that voice. Brilliant. Saw him back in the day. I've seen Iron Maiden. I've never seen Metallica. But, going back to the sort of 80s, early 80s, I used to live in Poole. It's only a small place, but we had an art centre there, about 1,500, 1,800 capacity. Every other week there would be like, Sabbath or Iron Maiden, you name them, they all played there. Marillion, saw them all. Brilliant. Don't get that nowadays. Couldn't afford to nowadays. Crikey, looking at the ticket prices. That's for sure. Say hello, Brill. Hello, Brazil, Rio de Janeiro. Hello, Rio. That's a place again. I'd love to go, and I really would. Where are we? I'm stuck on playing the pentatonic scale on every song. Any tips on how to improve? Right, okay. Don't put the pentatonic down. All right, okay, because it is the staple of most rock music. Now, what you can do, if you know the 5 positions, or you just only know one position, learn the 5 different, what we call box patterns. All right, we can do a lesson on this online. I don't care. Big one to do actually if people don't know it. And then joining them together, which will open the entire fretboard up. Now then, and once you're used to that, all right, the next thing I would do is to learn the blues scale, because the blues scale is a minor pentatonic scale with one added note, which is what we call the flat 5. All right. It's one of those notes that it's used as a passing note. All right. We'll go into this in more depth. I'm getting some ideas for things that people want, so that'll be really good. So when you say pentatonic, and also learn the major pentatonic as well as the minor. Everybody learns the minor, but every major has a and a quick tip here for you, in case you don't know. I'm sure most people know. Oh, wrong guitar. How do I know what is the relative minor to any major or vice versa? Really, really easy. You've got 4 fingers, hopefully. Although I've got one student that's only got 3. So I'm always checking. So if we're in C major, what we're going to do, we're going to call the first finger a minor finger and the 4th finger a major finger. So if I'm going to say D major, the song's in D major. I put my 4th finger, which is my major finger, on that D note, 1 finger per fret, and then I look at where my first finger ends up. It's on the B note. So B minor is the relative minor to D major. And that just works from any note. It also works the other way around. So in other words, if I knew the song was in G major, but I wanted to play a major pentatonic or a major scale over it, which I can, all right, I go to my minor finger on the G note, 1 finger per fret. My 4th finger is on the B flat notes. So it's B flat major. Simple as that. That's it. Minor finger, major finger. Learn where your notes are. Really important. Please learn where your notes are. Okay. Even if it's just the E string and the A string, it's so important and will save you a lot of time. Okay, do you think upgrading a cheap guitar, is it worth it? Depends on the guitar. Yeah, it really does. If the guitar plays well and stays in tune, say, all right, but maybe the pickups aren't that great, change pickups. Yeah, okay, simple as that. So yeah, you can. A lot of people will buy like a Mexican, like I did, Mexican telly, and then put like locking tuners on it, change the nut, because the nuts can be I prefer I forget what they call them now. It's like slippy stuff, I forget. Someone out there will know what they are, but changing the nut, which is quite an easy and cheap job to do, and the nuts are only about £10, that can help with tuning as well. No, don't worry about too many questions at all. That's absolutely fine. You know, that's what I'm here for. You know, it's not a problem. What was your first concert ever? Oh goodness. Do you know what? I honestly don't know. I really don't know. It would have been a rock band in the early 80s. That's pretty much. I know that when I was 15, I think I was 16 actually. Excuse me. And it would have been 1980 and or 79, 80. God, blimey, I can't remember now. And Blondie were playing at a venue nearby, and my mum wouldn't let me go. So that would have been, but it wasn't. Okay. I think it was actually on New Year's Eve or Christmas Eve or something, so that's probably why she didn't let me go. When did you first start playing the guitar? Basically, when I was 19, I shared a flat with 2 guys, and they played, a couple of mates. What do you think about Paco de Lucia and his technique? If I'm honest, I don't know who that is, but I will make a note. My writing is terrible. Paco, what was it? I've lost it now. De Lucia. I'll have a look. The one player that I do like now who has reinvented the guitar is Matteo Mancuso, and if you haven't seen him play, oh heavens, he's reinvented the guitar literally. It is go and watch him. Scary, brilliant though. He's absolutely brilliant. Is there a guitar solo that made you cry or put you in a sentimental mood? There's a lot of Floyd stuff, obviously. That really hits home. Brothers in Arms by Dire Straits was a poignant time in my life for one reason or another. And Stairway to Heaven, and Still Got the Blues, and many others. But there we go. What is your opinion about metal genres? Levi the Great Hun. Heavy doom. Oh, right, okay. Well, that's the thing. Listen, back in my day, it was heavy metal. That was it. Nowadays, it's doom metal, emo metal, screamo metal, I don't know, cast iron metal. I'm not really sure. There's so many. I'm not sure where to pigeonhole things anymore. I know Metallica is thrash, but I really don't know. Yeah, listen, I like some Metallica. I'm not really into the really, really heavy stuff. If I'm honest, that's just not my thing, But, I get it. That's for sure. All right, Dave Gilmour or Robert Fripp. Right, well, that for me would be Dave Gilmour. I mean, Fripp's a great player, don't get me wrong, but Gilmour don't play that many notes, does he? But he just plays the right ones, and he just knows what to do with such passion as well. And that's where the feel element, I've seen so many people cover his stuff and it just doesn't work. And hopefully I can do it reasonable justice. I hope I do. But yeah, Gilmour is just, yeah, fabulous. And Floyd, The Wall, always my favorite album, no question. I couldn't live without that album. I really couldn't. How many years you've been playing? Just about 41 now. How many instruments do I play? Yeah, I play the ukulele and bass as well. What do you think about Dream Theater? Never really listened to him. I know I've heard the odd track, and I know Petrucci is an absolute. Well, listen, I'm using some of his picks. Hasn't rubbed off though, strangely. I thought it would. It didn't. Never mind. But yeah, it's not necessarily my thing, but he's a great player. What is the most complicated guitar solo you've ever learned? This one keeps coming up. Now, right, it's not necessarily, I mean, the amount of takes I had to do for Crazy Train was just unbelievable. That one nearly killed me. And believe it or not, although not the hardest, Comfortably Numb, the end solo, because it's over 2 minutes long and you've got to remember a lot of notes and where they are. So trying to remember that long a solo is quite something. What's a good song on guitar to practice power chords? If you're just starting power chords, All the Small Things I Use by Blink-182. Really good song for that. Okay. Chris, are the Vox AC30 worth the money, or is there any others that are better for the money? It really depends on the sound that you're going for. I'll be absolutely honest. I've never owned a Vox. I have played a few, and I've never been an absolute massive fan. Sorry. It's just personal things, I really don't know on that one. I mean, a good valve amp, it doesn't do metal, but you can put a pedal in front of it. And I think we're spoiled for choice now with valve amps. There's a lot out there that will get that Vox sound. And, I'm dipping my toe into the digital world really a little bit now as well, hopefully soon. So it'll be interesting to see how I get on with that. Yeah, that's right. Matteo Lee is awesome. He is no pick. No, he doesn't use a pick. He uses 3 fingers. But what he does is scary. It really is. What are you listening to recently? I don't think there's anything new, if I'm honest. What do you think about John Frusciante? Yeah, I love his playing. I really do. I think he's the only real guitarist for the Chili Peppers, maybe. That might be a little bit controversial, but I really do. But his rhythm playing is very Hendrix, and it is very, very Hendrix. And I think we all are. We owe that man so much. What do you think makes a guitar good? Oh, blimey. It's so many things. It's personal. What will work for me might not work for you. And when people say, what's the best to go and get, I always say, go to a music store, tell them your budget, say, can you bring me everything in that budget? And you'll just know which is right for you. Okay. I stopped at grunge, heavy metal, and classic rock all the way. Yeah, that's what was heavy metal is now classic rock. Iron Maiden, isn't it? Can you recommend any little known guitarists or bands that you like? Oh, crikey. Krenar Silku. Watch my Instagram tomorrow he's a really great player. People that you won't know, all right. And there's other jams that I did at 42 Gear Street with Steve, and loads of other people, all different styles, which was really good. So it kind of made me play a bit different as well. So look out for them. Some really good players there. All right. I got to see Randy Rhoads live. Oh, lucky man. I never saw Eddie Van Halen live either, which was really, yeah. They never hardly did any concerts over here, sadly. But there we go. What do you think about newer metal? I'm not even sure what newer metal is, if I'm honest with you, anymore. Guys, I think we've nearly done 2 hours now. Crikey. I thought I was getting a bit... so there we go. So listen, I would love to do another one of these. If we want to do a regular one, then I think it would be cool. I'm certainly up for it. Go on to my socials, please, and just leave comments there about what you'd like to know. All right. I'm probably just going to do a little bit of playing. No idea what. I'll tell you what, someone mentioned Gilmore earlier, so I'll do a little bit of playing over a Gilmore type backing track if I can find one. So have you played on the Gretsch? I have played a couple of Gretches. They're not totally my thing, the big bodies. They do other ones now, which are quite good. I've had a couple with students, and they have been good, actually. What do I think about electronic music? Listen, I went through the 90s. It was all electronic. Some of it was good. Some of it was maybe a bit samey. I don't know. Steve, nice one, man. Thanks for that. No worries. Thanks, mate. Listen, we'll catch up soon. And we'll have to talk about doing some sort of a collab, and I'm not sure how yet. And you know what life's like at the moment for all of us, especially now we're back to school. Well, you've been back a week, haven't you? I'm starting back on Monday. Oh, crikey. Always takes me a couple of weeks to get into it. So thanks ever so much, everyone, for coming in. If I'm honest, I did say earlier, I didn't think anyone would turn up. So I'm really, really chuffed that everybody has. And like I said, we want to give me some ideas, guys, because, I'm a bit, but there we go. So I'm just going to do a little bit of playing out now on a Gilmore type backing track. First one that comes up when I get on to my other thing. So thanks ever so much for everybody. If I haven't read your comment, I'm really sorry. I just missed it. Okay. And everybody have a good weekend. So let's get rid of this and put Gilmore type backing. See if I can make sure I spell it right. Type backing. Let's have a look. Here we go. Right. Oh, great. Avers. Oh, missed it. I always do that. I'm useless. I really am. Technology. So how long is this? All right. Let's just do a couple of minutes. Oh, well, that was quicker than I thought. And I'm not sure even where I am. Okay, then, guys. Thanks ever so much for coming, and I am now going to go and
for your business to succeed, you need to make.
See, I told you I was useless.
I can help you all if you just follow me.
Get rid of that, and I'm now going to go and get a very well earned, I hope, cup of lemon tea. Rock and roll, eh? Okay, then, guys. Catch you soon. Cheers. Bye.